Greetings, everyone. This is the Cosmic Consciousness Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Daniel Sage. And today we have the great privilege of having my own personal acupuncturist join us, Becky Manders. Becky is a traditional Chinese medical practitioner. She has 2 master's degrees. One is in acupuncture and one is in traditional Chinese herbal medicine. She's a graduate of Metro State University in Denver. She went to what then I think was called the Colorado School of Traditional Chinese Medicine, but now is called the Colorado Chinese Medicine University. Right. So there have been several experiences I've had with Becky that led me to want to interview her for this podcast. And so a couple of the questions that I'm going to ask have somewhat of a personal nature, but hopefully we can expand that into how this work inspires you, how you came into it, and how it works for all of your clients. So let me just ask you the first question, and you shared this with me, I think maybe the first time that we ever got together, and you had no idea what acupuncture was, but somehow you got this message intuitionally or
Yes.
inspirationally or whatever. And so talk a little bit about how you came into the work of acupuncture.
So when I was 19, I worked at a chiropractic office, and he had an acupuncture poster there. I was just fascinated with it. He didn't know much about acupuncture, but he took the weekend seminar and he could do acupuncture, and he had all the herbs, he had the needles, he had the posters, and I was just so enamored by this stuff, but I knew nothing of it. He didn't really talk about it. And then after I stopped working there, I kind of just let things go, lived my life. And when I started school, I just kept getting this little voice saying acupuncture. So when I moved to Denver, I was driving downtown and drove by the school. So I thought I'd go in and just see what it was about. And the minute I walked in, I just started bawling. And so I knew I was supposed to be there. So a week later, I signed up and I was ready to go. So that's how I got into it. I had no idea what it was about. I never had it before. It was just a calling for sure.
Yeah. So that you did have a little acquaintance with this before you had kind of this moment of inspiration or an episode of inspiration. But how did that moment or episode come to you? Did it come in like a teletype or a voice, or did you just general feeling?
I'd
Or
like to say voice, but it's not a voice. It was just, I just knew it was acupuncture. It's hard to explain. It is a voice that doesn't speak. It's strange. I just knew that that's what I should do. So I don't really know how to explain that part of it.
Now, this is a question I did not send you as a kind of guideline for what we might talk about, but
Okay.
you know, in that sense of kind of a non-audible voice, do you have any kind of spiritual or religious background that gives you a framework for being able to talk about that?
So I was raised very Catholic, but I am no longer. I don't really have a belief, really. If I were to have to claim one, it would be reincarnation. So maybe I'm thinking a past life I was an acupuncturist. I don't know. But I don't really have a belief in anything particular.
Yeah. You don't have a spiritual practice or some sort of meditation or way that you feel like you center, or in any of those kinds of methods or strategies that
I
give
really
you?
don't. No,
Yeah.
I don't really do anything in that sort.
Yeah. Do you
No.
garden or paint or do anything creative or?
No, not
Yeah.
really. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Okay. So this is it. So you talk about it as being a calling. It's a vocational kind of feature to this.
Uh,
When you say calling, what does that mean for you in the context of, okay, I don't necessarily have a spiritual discipline or orientation, but in a occupational sense, okay, calling. A lot of people understand that. Do you think your sense of calling is different or the same as most other folks would think about it?
um, I just know that I'm meant to do this. I just know that I'm supposed to be doing this. I don't really think much about it.
Hmm.
I just have a knowing
Yeah.
and just excited about being able to do something I know I was meant to do.
Yeah.
I think it's very hard. I try not to think too much about it. I try and focus on what I need to hear. But other than that, I try not to ask too many questions because it's really hard to explain. And I don't know what kind of answers I'm looking for or like what to ask really. And I don't know if it's really supposed to be completely known. I just try and hear what I can hear. Like that's the most important, I think.
Well, you've said that a couple of times now, what you need to hear. And I know that you've said this to me, and I'm sure you've said it to other clients. In fact,
Yes.
my wife, who goes to you as well, talks about this, that something in the process of taking care of your clients or patients speaks to you. Oh, this
Yes.
one is talking to me. How does that come to you? Is it like a little light, or is it a little voice, or is it just an energy? What's happening?
In school, it was a picture like a bingo ball. One of those little balls with numbers on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that. It'll have the organ name and then the number. And so in school, that's like I saw that. And now I don't see it, I don't hear it, but I just know it. It just says a point to me or several points to me. So it's very hard to explain
Have
what
you
it is.
heard anybody else in acupuncture or herbal medicine or even chiropractic or any, because you work in a chiropractor's office currently,
Yes.
that's where I see you,
Hmm.
any other health practitioners that talk about that in the same way that you experience it?
Yes, one of the chiropractors that I work with has the same experience. So he kind of says the body talks to him. And I think that that's exactly what happens to me. It just I used to think it was something I don't kn- I didn't know if it was my education that wait a minute. This is telling me this is the gallbladder channel. I need to treat the gallbladder. That's why, but now I just know it is just the patient's body speaking to me what it needs. So maybe the patient didn't tell me they have acid reflux, but there's a certain point for that. And that's the point that I wouldn't normally do because we didn't discuss it. But then I somehow can't leave the room without doing it. So as soon as I start to leave the room, I will just hear, nope, we need to do this point before you leave. And it's pretty clear to me that I have to do that point. So sometimes if sometimes the patients don't know what to tell me. So what we're talking about, I know what to treat through my education, but if they don't talk to me about something, I feel like their body does in a way, if that makes sense at
Mm-hmm.
all.
So you've even talked about how you treat yourself. You do
I
acupuncture
do.
on yourself, and then
Hmm.
you've got pets that you do acupuncture. Do
Yes.
you? So okay, this is a little tricky when you're treating a client or a patient. That's kind of sort of subject-object relationship. But when you're treating yourself or even pets that you're intimately connected with, does the message or the, oh, wait, this is speaking to me in a different way than it does with a regular client? How does that work on yourself?
It doesn't speak to me on myself. Or maybe it does, but I do 90 needles on myself. I do an extreme amount. I think I need every single point. So, and a lot of times if I do the point, it won't speak to me, because I've done it. Because a lot of times people will tell me what's going on. So then I already know what to do. But if, like I said, in those situations that maybe we didn't discuss it, then I hear, we need this point. So in the beginning, I used to not do it because that was not what I was going to do. So I'd be like, what is that? And then I'd run out of the room and see, what is that point and what is that for? And then when I went back into the patient, I'd ask them the question, well, do you get migraines? Whatever that point was significant for? And they'd be like, yeah, how did you know? And I was like, it was because I heard that point. After that happened over and over, I was like, just listen to it. Whatever it is, wherever it's from, I just listen to it. And it usually helps a lot. It usually will work.
Can you talk about how long you were in practice before that realization came to you?
And started in school. The first thing that started was when we were locating points on the body. I would touch a point and it would vibrate. And I used to say, oh, there's like sensation at these points. And the instructors would say, no, like they would say certain people are lucky enough to feel the chi. So I knew in school that I could already. So now sometimes I use that for just, do I need this point? Sometimes if the points talk to me in the beginning, I would say, okay, let me just touch the point. And if it vibrated, I would do it. Now I just do it. I don't question. I want it to speak. I want it to come out. So I just do it. But I can feel the chi at the surface of the skin, which is really nice. So that I learned in school. And I had already seen kind of those points in like the bingo balls in school. So that started right away, which was nice because it was terrifying. I had no idea. I had no experience with acupuncture. I had no idea. When we started, we'd have to start and the classes and introduce who we were and why we were there. And everybody had these magical experiences with acupuncture. And I got to say, I don't know why I'm here. It was a good environment for me to be able to do that because everyone accepted that. But I was the only one that didn't have an experience. I was just saying, I don't know why I'm here. I just am. So it was like always I was throughout school reminded you are supposed to be here because it was kind of scary. I was like, what am I doing here sometimes? And those little things would remind me, this is why you're here. You needed. And no one else in my class or any acupuncturist that I know experienced what I experienced. So it's nice. I feel like I have an upper hand.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always felt like there is a difference, particularly with body workers, but in all medicine, Western, Eastern, allopathic, complementary, whatever, there's a real difference between a practitioner and a healer. Mm-hmm. And I would identify you because of your calling and your sensibilities about this kind of thing as a healer rather than just a practitioner.
Right.
And that's a nice marriage with traditional Chinese medicine because we're talking about energies. Mm-hmm. And so did you have, before going into acupuncture, I mean, even maybe when you were 19 working in the chiropractor's office, did you have a sense about, okay, we're not just a bunch of molecules and chemicals and body parts and organs, we're these kind of energy beings? Do you have, how did that?
So when I was really young, I told my parents all the time that I can heal with my hands. I don't know if that's just something a little kid says. I don't know if that's normal, but I knew from the time I was really little that I had something. I had something that I could heal And I knew it would be with my hands. I started school when I was 19 to be a chiropractor because I thought that was really the only alternative medicine I knew of, but that didn't work out. So I knew at a young age that I had healing abilities. I just didn't know what it was really until later on in life. And now I know I'm using it.
Yeah.
I'm in the right
How
field.
young? Yeah, I'm sorry. How young were you when you had that kind of recognition?
Very, very 5, 6. Yeah. So I always knew. And my dad would always say, "You have a special touch," and he could have just been saying that to me to make me feel good. But I'd be like, "I know, I am going to heal with these hands one day, and I can heal." So that I think I just knew since I was little that I never knew how to, or I don't know if I took it that serious until I actually got into doing this, and so it always brings me back to that. Like I knew. I just didn't really know what to do with it until I was later in life.
Did you have experiences with either of your parents? Like your dad obviously was embracing this. I mean, where he maybe had some ailments and you took care of him?
Yes, I would massage him. I would massage his neck and his back, and he'd always say, "You have a special touch, and you always make me feel better." So that would, and I just thought it was, I was massaging him, and he was just trying to make me feel better. But, looking back, I think I did. I really do. Yeah.
Are your parents still alive?
My mom is. Yeah.
So, marrying that experience of healing and then acupuncture, getting derailed a little bit by chiropractic, but finding your path and calling in acupuncture, was there a similar kind of an experience with herbal medicine too? Or would those just simply
I
go
think
hand in hand for you?
they definitely go hand in hand. So when I started school, they really pumped up the herbal medicine too. Like it will help you learn acupuncture more. It will help you understand the systems better. But I always, since I was little, never wanted to take medicine. So I would always say the body will heal itself. It'll heal itself. It frustrated my mom a lot. But to this day, they'd always be like, "Oh, well, that's why. You never wanted medicine when you were little." So when I found out about the herbs and that we could do it at the same time, I definitely went for it. I think it's amazing.
So was that a part of your formal training, or did you already kind of have intuitions about that as well?
Not so much. I didn't really and I would love to do more herbs, but so many people are not really compliant. I never really did a lot of like experimenting with herbs before, but I would always try and do something natural before I took medicine. So that was always important to me. Like the body can heal itself. I'll wait on the medicine unless it got real late. So that was important to me. And then they kind of pushed me to do the herbs when I got into school. So just saying, you need to do them side by side. So that's why I did that.
Do herbs, plants, those kind of natural medicinals speak to you in the same way that you have a patient's or client's body speak to you,
Sometimes
or do
they
you?
do. And then I will bring up an herb to them, but then over time, like they would do the herb and then they'd be like, "Well, it's not working," or "It makes my stomach hurt." Or so I think I have kind of backed off. I do have something I do have a voice that always says, "You have a degree, you have the knowledge, just go for it." But I haven't really listened to that yet. I haven't really asserted myself in that part. It's kind of hard people are just not very complacent with it. They just don't want to take 15 pills 3 times a day, 2 hours before they eat, like following the directions. And, we live in a society, they want one pill a day and it fixes it immediately. So it's kind of hard to find people that are willing to do herbs for long term. But it does speak to me and to
Yeah.
be like, get back into that. but I'm
So,
not listening.
yeah, you don't have the same confidence with your herbal medicine intuitions that you do with acupuncture.
Yeah. I mean, because that is definitely with acupuncture, I have complete confidence in my acupuncture.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Is it because people come to you for acupuncture, do you think, or is it because of what you said? With in Western medicine, we do want a pill. We
Yep.
want to be kind of have take care of the symptoms right away, despite the fact that some of those drugs might actually just embed the symptoms more deeply, and not really. It only takes care of the symptoms, not the root causes. Is that a part of it, or is it because that my experience anyway has been with herbal medicine is you got to give it time. It's not like
Yeah.
an immediate effect, and it's not an immediate disappearance of a symptom. It's sometimes I say it's 60 or 90 days.
Yeah. It does. Well, herbs correct what's weak. Whatever is going on, they strengthen what is weak so that the body can eventually do it itself, whereas medication takes over for the system that's not functioning well. And that's why it's hard to get off medication. Well, with herbs, you can eventually get off of them. You just have to give it time. It takes time to strengthen. It takes time to for something to be able to do its complete job, and it doesn't stay in your body. Herbs don't, so that's why you have to take so many and so many times a day. So they're like, really, I have to take 15 pills 3 times a day? Yes, because it doesn't stay in your body. Your body will use what it needs, then get rid of the rest, and then you take more, it uses what it needs and gets rid of. So people have to be patient, and there's just not too many out there that are patient, or they
Uh,
get a stomach ache and then they blame it on the herbs. And then I feel like I got to give them their money back.
Well, are there particular things with Western people? I would suspect you probably don't treat a whole lot of folks that are a little more acquainted with traditional Chinese medicine or Eastern kinds of medicine. But are there certain kinds of Western ailments that you encounter that you think probably herbs or particular kinds of herbal medicine would really treat, cure, heal that are endemic sort of to a Western culture? Are there certain things that you see in patterns with your patients and clients?
Well, it's funny because the biggest herbs I use are the lemon juice, the ginger, like I told you about, licorice root. So it's like just individual herbs that I do that really help a lot of people. I think, and a lot of acupuncturists need them both. I think they're not as effective just with acupuncture. I didn't actually realize how effective I would be in just acupuncture. I think herbs can help in all sorts of digestion issues, with migraines, with pain. Um, but I also think if you have the right intention, in school they told us 90% of acupuncture is intention. And I thought, well, that's a bunch of bull. I'm going to hit the books. But now that I've practiced for 8, 10 years now, I know that to be absolutely true. I believe it to be true. It's the intention of your treatment. And then the body knows what to do and it will do it. So I think some people need the herbs and some people don't. I mean, practitioners, the acupuncturist. It depends on their acupuncture and how effective the acupuncture is. Because they teach us, do them both, you can get them better faster. But I see very fast results with my patients. So I'm not necessarily that they need herbs so much as maybe a little push with the lemon juice, with the ginger, with some licorice root, or just certain teas that they can do, bitter melons, just certain things. And those sort of things talk to me. And I tell the patients. As soon as they tell me something, I hear something, I say, go for it. And then I tell them, this is what you need. So I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. You mentioned a term that makes its way around the kind of consciousness studies quite a bit, and that is intention.
Yes.
Does the intention come as kind of an intellectual thing, or as a feeling from the heart, or just sort of this same kind of experience you have with, you just know?
That and I try and engage the patient in thinking what they want to change, what they want to fix, what's going on as I'm treating them. So if we're both focused, if someone wants to get pregnant, I just believe there's a baby in there. It's just my needling is to create a baby, or, it is whatever they're asking for or whatever I think that they need. I'm going to create that while I'm treating them. I have them talk about it, and then I try and create that. And it 90% of the time works. It's crazy because then they come back and I'm like, how you doing? And they're like, well, it's gone. Or, it worked. I think intention has a lot to do with it. I didn't believe that in school. They said it all the time, and I thought, you are crazy. That is just nonsense. And I believe it to be true now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you have other practitioners, I mean, maybe not just in your office, that you talk to about this kind of knowing or intuition or intention? Do you?
Some I do, but they don't have it. They don't get it. Like a lot of the other acupuncturists, they're just studying the books and figuring out the diagnosis, figuring out the protocol. They constantly told us in school that, because the students would say, what if I get the diagnosis wrong? And what if we do the whole protocol, we do all the needles, and we did it wrong? We got the diagnosis wrong. And they said the body will know what to do. And we were all like, oh, that's crazy. That's just not true. But I believe that as well now, as well. So when I talk to other acupuncturists about it, they don't trust that. They're like, I got to get the diagnosis right. So they're studying. And some of them aren't so successful in that way. I think maybe trusting in that process too is important.
Can you talk about, and without using names, of course, but any of your more salient cases or patients that you've worked with, ones that you've gone, whoa, wow, this intention that I set out for this particular client or patient was much more, yeah.
I never thought about that. I would just have to say, in general, some people come in, I don't think that this is going to work, or a lot of people don't really. They'll just saying, I'm just checking the boxes. It just says acupuncture will work. I guess a lot of people, but I also believe in acupuncture. So I don't know if it is the intention or the acupuncture. I get a lot of success with most of my patients. So I don't know if it is the acupuncture or the intention. I'm not sure. Very rarely do I see someone that they don't get better. So I don't really have instances where they don't get better. So I say all of my patients receive some sort of benefit from acupuncture. Yeah.
Do you have clients that will talk to you about it, like you and I talk about sometimes in your office?
Yeah.
About that kind of thing? Most of them are going, wow, this is really amazing. I couldn't, most of them have that kind of conversation with you, or some just
They
come
do.
and.
I don't normally talk to them about, like, I hear things. I don't really tell people. Because I don't know, first off, how they're going to feel about that. And then also, I don't want them to just think that I'm just being a psychic acupuncturist, So I don't really talk to many people about, like, me hearing things or knowing what to treat with them. So I don't really, is that the question that you asked?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't talk to many. I would say a handful of people do I tell that to. I noticed when I said, oops, I have a couple more points, you immediately picked up on it and said, what do you mean you have? Like, did you forget them? Like, what do you mean you have some more points? And so I just trusted and told you, but I normally don't. I would just say I forgot some points that I want to do. I don't normally tell people, that I hear points.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the best angle to go.
Well, I guess part of what I was digging for here, and I didn't even know that I was digging for this, is if you have colleagues or maybe even a community of people, and maybe it's just simply the school itself that you still have some attachment to, where you feel some sense of confirmation or a community of support or something like that, or that you're so confident in your own calling that you know you just need to do this. And maybe you get that from confirmation via clients and patients who say, yeah, this is really working. How does that get
Um,
confirmed for you?
I don't know anyone in acupuncture. The only person I know is the chiropractor that I talk to that says he talks to the body. It is the only other person I know because I used to ask um my colleagues in school, like, do you feel that vibration on their body? And they'd be like, no. And I'm like, well, do you hear points? And they're like, no. And I don't know anybody else that does that. I Other than the chiropractor that I ran into, and he says the body talks to him. So that's the only other person I know of that has this. So yeah.
I know that our connection seems to be a little unstable at this point,
Yes.
but I just wanted to ask you a couple of more things going forward
Okay.
for you. Does it work better for you working in kind of this collaborative office where you are? Have you thought about, just having your own office, or this is really a symbiotic thing for you right now, and it's comfortable, and you can work as many days as you need to, and take off as many other days you need to get recharged? Or does the
Yeah.
work drain you, and you need to have some sense of recharge? So I know there's like 3 or 4 questions embedded in all of that, but
Right.
yeah.
Well, so yes, I do love working with chiropractors, massage therapists, because acupuncture is energy and getting rid of stagnation. It can't change structural things. So when people come to me with pain, I can get the pain level about 80% better. And when it stops at 80% and it's still there, then we know then it's structural. It's either going to be, they need an adjustment or they need muscle work. So that's where it's nice to work as a team. Or like sometimes the chiropractors will say, we have x-rays, we have all the evidence, this person shouldn't be in pain. So then they send them to the acupuncturist and then we finish them off. So we work really well together in that aspect. So I love that. And it is very draining. I only work 3 days a week. It would be nice if I could do a little more, but it's not a physical draining. I just kind of have to shut down, just kind of be by myself, recharge that way. Um, and then there was one more question you had.
Well, I can ask you, can you talk about how it is you recharge? Is it just, I mean, being alone, reading books, spending
Yeah.
time with pets, or what is it?
Being alone, just not having conversation. I could read a book. I could color. I like to color. Watch TV, watch a series, just kind of unplug and not really have any computer stuff, not talking to anybody, not going anywhere. I just kind of need to shut down. That I really need. Also, before I go to work, I envision like my hands protected. Like I would have to say almost like a saran wrap on them almost. so that, and then I tell myself I can give love, I can give healing energy, but I'm not taking back any sort of energy. That's really important. If I forget to do that, I can feel a difference. I feel even more extra drained. Sometimes I get emotional the next day if I don't remember to protect. In school, they told us to always wear white lab coats because white is the reflective color of healing. But I thought it was just really important because I'm touching people. Like, I don't want to get that negative energy or whatever's going on with them. I don't want to get that. I just always, on my way to work or when I'm getting ready in the morning, I always just envision a shield up, that a shield that I can give whatever I want, but I don't get anything back. So that's really important. I make sure I do that all the time before work. And I'll notice the difference if I forget. If I'm on the phone all the way, in the morning or my way to work, and then it's just a more chaotic day if I don't take that time and do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so in that train of thought and in that interest for you, I don't want this to be a draining experience, so we're going to kind of wrap things up, but I want to give you an opportunity to add on anything that I may not have asked or something that occurred to you, in the course of our conversation that you think is important for people to understand about how it is that you process this kind of work and healing. And
well, I also, people think they need a problem to get acupuncture. Everyone has emotional upsets, they have physical traumas, they have environmental, diet-wise things that acupuncture is not something. You don't need to be in ill health or in pain to get acupuncture. It is a preventative medicine. It is organ healing. It everybody could use acupuncture. You can never get too much. And even if it's just once a month, to help heal your organs and to prevent illness is what acupuncture is about. It's not like I'm at my last and I have no idea where to go. And that's usually people are coming to acupuncture in desperation. Like, I've tried everything else, now I'll try this. And it's usually, fortunately, it helps. But I think, and so many people say, there's nothing wrong with me, I don't need it. Everybody needs acupuncture. It is organ health. It is preventative medicine. And nobody has a stress-free life. And stress is the biggest culprit to the pathways to our organs. We just need to free them up, and it really helps organs get healthy. So acupuncture is for everyone, children, adults, it's never too late. It's never too early. It's good for everyone, is what I say.
Well, that is a terrific benediction for our conversation for today. I really appreciate you being able to take some time out to just talk about this, and not just, because of you specifically, and I would highly recommend people come and see you.
Thank you.
But as a kind of a palliative for folks that are considering acupuncture, wherever they are, whatever stage of life, whatever, as you say, whatever their circumstances, and that particularly us allopathic, Western-oriented folks should probably even give herbal medicine a little bit more of a chance as well.
Yes, yeah. I think it would be very beneficial.
Yeah. So thank you very much. We'll let you have some of your downtime to regenerate for your work week. And so we're going to say goodbye for now, and until the next episode, peace to all.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Bye.